This is a CineD review, supported by B&H and CVP.
Welcome everybody to this CineD hands-on review of the GoPro HERO11 and the DJI Action 3. My name is Gunther and I will share with you some insights, some tips and tricks and some footage that I have collected over the past 2 months utilizing these cameras over various use cases. But first, let's have a look at some footage that I shot. So here we go. Now let's do some analysis. First use case, vlogging. The audio capabilities of these cams are very important for vlogging, so let's have a look how these cameras sound. I did my best to process the audio in DaVinci Resolve Fairlight. Let's have a look. And here is your use case number 1. That's vlogging. And here is your use case number 1. That's vlogging. And for vlogging, a good microphone is very important, a good sound is very important. And for vlogging, a good microphone is very important, a good sound is very important. And this is why I'm comparing now the DJI Action 3 camera to the GoPro HERO11. And this is why I'm comparing now the DJI Action 3 camera to the GoPro HERO11. The GoPro seems to put more emphasis on the voice, whereas the DJI Action 3 seems to provide more ambient sound. Overall, I think both sound surprisingly good. Also, what becomes obvious from these clips is that the DJI Action 3 obviously exposes a bit hotter. That's why from now on I've turned exposure to -0.3. Also, the image is more contrasty on the DJI Action 3. If you want to mitigate that, utilize the CineD on the DJI Action 3 and of course ProTune on the GoPro HERO11. Next thing, color science. In general, during broad daylight, I think both cams provide a remarkably well balanced footage with very nice colors. However, underwater this situation changes. And although DJI claims on their website specifically that the white balance sensor detects difficult lighting situations like underwater, I do think that DJI pushes too much blue underwater. Have a look at the next scene where I compared both cams. You can see that the skin colors are better preserved on the GoPro, and there was no way I could recover the skin colors on the DJI Action 3. Manual exposure is possible on both cams, especially if you activate the Pro mode on the DJI Action 3. However, I do find the manual way of the DJI Action 3 more cumbersome, because you have to enter a manual, manually set your settings, and it always remembers the settings from the last time. Whereas the GoPro, it's very easy. You just tap on the rear screen on the area where you want to preserve the exposure. Then a white bracket shows up, you tap it again and the exposure is locked. As simple as that. It's highly recommended from my side to utilize manual exposure in some of the scenes. Have a look at the next scene. The first one is with manual exposure, exposure set to the outside of the windows. And now you see the next scene where the GoPro is just set to auto exposure. What I also don't like with the DJI Action 3, it is more hectic with exposure changes. Have a look at the next scene where the DJI cam constantly changes the exposure levels. I think the GoPro is doing it in a much more subtle way, which looks more pleasing to the eye. However, in a recent firmware update, this has been improved with the DJI Action 3. Another thing I learned underwater is image stabilization doesn't work as well underwater than outside. And secondly, never use the ultra-wide lens underwater, because the edges of the frame on both cams can get distorted, and also it doesn't look very nice with the image stabilization because the edges start to wobble all around. The DJI is nice because when you select the lens setting, it even gives you that hint that you should not use the ultra-wide setting. Speaking of lenses, the DJI Action 3 provides a wider angle than the GoPro HERO11 in all settings. You can see this also in some of the scenes and comparisons that I have provided. However, there's one nice feature that the GoPro HERO11 has, and that's the Super View feature. In Super View, it just basically takes everything from the sensor and distorts it into a 16:9 image, and of course you get some edge distortions, but in the middle it looks rather good and it is a very immersive experience. Now, in general, to the image quality. Both cams look really nice in broad daylight, but I have to say that the DJI Action 3 image looks a bit more overprocessed in my eyes. GoPro is doing a better job here, and also, of course, the GoPro HERO11 is using 10-bit now. And in terms of bit rates, also the bit rates are higher. With the DJI Action 3 in 16:9 mode, you have 90 megabit per second, in 4:3 110. Whereas the GoPro HERO11, if you set the bitrate to high, it will always use 120 megabit per second, of course in H.265 on both cams. Also specifically the 8:7 mode of the GoPro is really nice if you cannot frame the shot correctly, because in post you have then all the options to reframe your shots in post with that. Fine, now let's have a look at more specific things, for instance of the DJI Action 3, pressing the record button. Although I understand that the DJI Action 3 can go underwater without a casing up to 16 meters, that means the button, the record button, has a tighter feel to it. However, I do think that it's too tight. It's sometimes difficult to know if you've pressed it or not. I really do like the magnetic quick release of the DJI Action 3. That's a superb feature. Initially I was frightened that it might come off in some of the scenes that I shot, but this never happened. And you can see I went through mountain biking, surfing, everything, it never came off. And that's a very handy feature if you quickly want to grab the camera, if we have it on a chesty for instance. Battery life is superb, and if you buy the DJI Action 3 Adventure Pack, you get a very nice charging case that holds 3 batteries and can charge them all at once. Both cameras come with their respective apps, the GoPro Quick app and the DJI Mimo app. I won't go into the tons of features that these apps provide, but there's 2 things I want to do. One, I would like to be able to download a trimmed version of a video clip to my phone and also capture a photo from the video stream. The GoPro Quick app offers both downloading a trimmed version of the video as well as capturing a photo. and the DJI Action 3 Mimo app offers to download a trimmed version but not a photo capture. Okay, you never can have it all, as it seems. Fine. So finally, price. Initially I thought that the 600 euros or dollars on the official website from GoPro is really on the high end. However, this reduces now to 450 euro if you go for a 1-year GoPro cloud subscription. The DJI Action 3 comes in much cheaper than that. I've seen it as low as 350 euros, and if you utilize the adventure pack, it comes in at 450 euros. That gives you 3 batteries in total, so you could say that the price difference isn't that big. For the price of the GoPro HERO11, you would get the Action 3 with 2 additional batteries, and that's a fair deal. So, because the price is not such a huge differentiating factor, also some of the sites have already massively discounted the HERO11, even without the cloud subscription, I do think in total that the HERO11 is the better deal. It offers a bit more features in terms of image quality. It has the 10-bit, the 8x7 mode, and overall it's a more mature package with more features. So for me, the HERO11 is the winner here. Thanks for watching. See you soon on CineD.com. I hope you liked what you saw and you could make up your mind about these 2 cameras, and we could provide some additional information. Bye bye.